Hey, I'm Phoebe Bridgers, and this is Records in My Life.
Motion sickness. Somebody roll the windows down. There are
inspired you and just I was gonna. It's funny.
Charles, you're gonna be here.
We just shot with Starcrawler. We work with Brian.
Sick,
so
yeah.
we have a bit of a tie-in. We'll ask you about working with Brian. And
Oh,
your
great.
favorite maybe Whiskey Town Ryan album. And I was trying to get a bit of, because I've been a fan of like Whiskey Town and Ryan Adams for many years. I know he's a bit of a. I love the guy, but I know he's a bit of a. He's a different cat.
It's a bit of a fuck.
I know. No, I've heard like.
Is he a fuck?
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, I love him too.
Awesome.
He's a fuck.
No, but he's a little
I am
unhinged
too,
at
though.
times. Right?
Everybody is. Everybody
Yeah.
who's cool is.
Yeah.
You know, because they don't want to put up with it.
He's the love. He's so positive and he's funny. Like see how happy he is.
That looks great.
Is it a good shot?
You look great. Yeah, that's wonderful.
He's an amazing dude. I mean, he's learned how to edit. I'm from the East Coast, so I'm open and I talk to everybody. I'm not a polite West Coast person, Canadian person, but he learned how to shoot and edit like film, like the show. I don't know if you've seen an episode yet, but it just makes things look amazing. So when you watch it, I mean, you look very good at it.
Thanks.
Not being flippant, just being honest. I compliment men too, everybody.
There you go.
But you look, and on camera with the lighting and everything else, on top, it'll look really good.
Great. Awesome.
Wasn't this the grass?
I know. All it's gone. We shot Andrew WK here. It was vines coming
I
down.
love
Mind you, it
Andrew
was one of the
WK.
worst interviews we've ever done.
It was.
We were so
was
excited.
so
We thought,
shy.
Andrew WK.
He was really shy.
Great.
He couldn't say a
Totally
word.
reserved.
Wow.
Totally reserved.
I'm not going to gossip, but he was
dropped-
just couldn't say anything.
He dropped Hooked on Classics as his album. Hooked on Classics, a K-Tel record from the 70s. I'm
That's
like,
crazy.
are you kidding me? This is what
That's
you're
so funny.
This is what you're gonna give us? He was super reserved.
He's the one that's got the like
He's the king of party.
Jackson Browne "Kiss My Ass Motherfucker" song.
Ooh, that's
Is that him?
Yeah, I think
I know
so.
his songs I will, but he's like the complete. And I know a lot of artists are like that. They get on stage, and the stage is like your office. You perform,
Yeah.
and during whatever the day, you kind of like maybe write or you can
Fantastic.
Yeah, for sure.
I really like him.
or like that. You know, but he was like the complete 90% of people like are comfortable talking to us because we're nice people. We're not friendly or conveying, but he was
Yeah.
just like defensive and then couldn't say. He referenced to what was the other creator? Was that the other band he referenced?
No, he had like a super.
No, not Tyler. Metal. They're like a screaming
Oh yeah,
death metal, like not
makes sense.
death metal type things or anything. You know, I would know them probably pretty well. Well, Ryan Adams is a big metal
Yeah.
guy. Eh?
Yeah.
Oh, like huge.
Huge.
Did he inspire you to do those tour trips? The one, the black and white with the white sleeves?
Probably. Yeah, definitely.
Because
He's
your
got
TM
quite a
didn't
bit
get the
of that.
reference. I said, I bet Ryan encouraged Phoebe to do a TV shirt like a tour shirt like
I
that.
probably just stole it from him.
Yeah.
It's like my oldest merch item.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the writing, your pin, I took
Yeah.
a pin. It has the metal. I can barely read writing unless you're into that.
Yeah, totally.
Do you ever see metal bands like that where you can't read the name of the band? How
yeah,
often?
well, the guy who designed the pin is like a straight up Norwegian metal
Oh,
designer.
yeah, that's the hub of that
yeah.
death.
Yeah.
For people that are so happy, it's a happy place to live there. There's a lot of dark. There's
Yeah.
So where's tomorrow's show?
Portland.
Portland?
Yeah.
Which venue, do you know?
Doug Fir?
Douglas Fair, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool play. Have you played before there?
I don't think I played the Doug Fir before. I played Portland quite a bit, but I did mostly like opening shit until very recently. So I played like a lot of giant venues and places,
That's so cool.
which is really cool. But also it's like cooler to play to small amount of people who give a fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
So-
I mean, a lot of your friends, because you've played here a couple times, right?
Yeah.
In Vancouver?
Uh huh.
Yeah. So you'll have like I don't know what the capacity is, probably 300-400 fans that are coming just
For
to
sure.
see you, and which
Yeah,
is
it's
nice,
great.
right?
It's really great. Yeah.
And home now is LA?
Yeah.
Is that where it is? Mm-hmm. And originally...
LA. Yeah.
Oh, you were born in LA too?
Yeah.
But you don't have the Los Angeles drawl, though. You have more of like... I was going to think, are you Nashville too or something like
Yeah,
that?
sometimes people think that. It's funny.
You do have a bit of a Nashville...
Really?
I do. I have a
Not that
discerning
up,
ear.
I'm
I
not up in American accents. I know New York and like Texas, the South.
South is a bit more announced, y'all, because they talk kind of like y'all and
Yeah.
I don't want to sound like an asshole. I'm going to say I met some people from a small tiny town in Texas, and they were telling me we're planning on doing a lot of traveling. And they said, I said, where are you going traveling? I met them when I was, we're going to, what did they say? We're going to Hawaii, and then we're going to, I thought traveling, you're going to Europe or something, or somewhere interesting. It's like,
That's crazy.
Hawaii?
Omaha, dude.
Hawaii, really? Well,
Yeah.
Why do you want to go to Hawaii? I mean, it's warm in fucking Texas. It's warm in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Beaches in Texas, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Are you almost ready?
I'm in focus and we're rolling.
Great.
So I'm just going to do this. And then...
Phoebe, thank you very much for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Tell us what's new and exciting, please.
Tour is exciting. It's not new, I guess, but Vancouver's new and exciting. Ooh, it's been snowing pretty much everywhere we have been until now. So that's new and exciting that it's warm.
It's a nice
springtime.
respite. You're still in Canada and there's no snow on the ground.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Tell us a bit about your latest album.
It's a collection of songs from my life. It's my first album, so yeah, it's like just everything until now, basically.
And who worked on the record with you as well?
Two producers named Tony Berg and Ethan Gruska. My drummer, Marshall Vore, my guitar player, Harrison Whitford. And then just the rest of it is us messing around on synthesizers and pretending to play bass and stuff. So, yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question a bit about Ryan Adams. The show's about albums, but it's about his albums. I know he's produced some of your tracks, and he's also not the latest record.
Right.
Right? Because you just mentioned that.
Yeah.
And you've toured with him a little bit. So give us a record from his catalog or Whiskey Town which you enjoy.
I like the Suicide Handbook, which is unreleased Ryan Adams music that you can find on the internet, I believe. But that's my favorite Ryan album, ironically. Is his unreleased Handbook? Yeah, unreleased. They started joking calling it Suicide Handbook because the label was like, we can't release this. It's a Suicide Handbook.
And so it's never, is it available on like iTunes or Bandcamp?
I don't think so. It's on like, I have it on my computer just from being friends with Ryan, but I think there is like little pieces on YouTube and stuff.
I'd like to check that out.
You
I've never even heard of that before.
It's findable.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because we've been a fan for like since the Whiskey. I was lucky enough to see Whiskey Town years ago. And that was fun.
Check it out. It's great.
Will do for sure.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, you wrote your first song when you were, was it 11 that you wrote your
Probably.
first song?
It's hard to say because I think anything I'd call a song was probably written after that, but I think I remember making my first attempt around 11, yeah.
Okay, that's super, super young. So what albums were inspiring you to write at such a young age?
I loved Blue, Joni Mitchell. I loved For Everyman, Jackson Browne. I had pretty much every Neil Young album, Tom Waits album. Just kind of what my parents were listening to. So
Man, such cool folks.
Yeah.
You were listening to that stuff at that.
Yeah, I kind of went backwards because then in high school I kind of was like, oh wait, pop punk and emo are a thing. That's crazy. I totally like missed out on my age group's music.
But that makes complete sense because your peers, you wanna do like your peers. It's a very common, very common thing. So since you started listening to music so young, if you were given a job, let's say I gave you a job teaching kids music, what album would you send them home with on the first day so that they could learn a little bit, but also culturally jump onto it?
Probably like Rubber Soul. Like, I think that's a great just introduction to everything record. Like, if you have no preconceived notions of music, probably that's a good introduction.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I think that was referenced the other day.
Was it?
Yeah, the Beatles are...
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was the only Beatles fan. You
You're
guys
the
should
only-
check them out.
you're-
They're really cool. They're this band. They're like, yeah, you should check them out for sure.
It rings a bell, right? Were they English? Or?
Yeah, I think they were English or Scottish or some shit. Yeah.
So you've been touring a lot. Give us an album which when you get home or off the road you should like to when you're doing, you get home and you have to do household chores or unpack or, the deal with the minutia of non-tour life? What's a good album to listen to at home?
There are so many. I think right now I'm the most excited to go home and listen to the albums I bought on tour. And I bought 3 albums by this guy, McCarthy Trenching is his band.
Wow.
All of his records are great. He barely puts stuff on the internet. I think there are a couple albums on the internet, but not all of them. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited to dig into the Soccer Mommy album that came out a couple weeks ago. I feel like I have a lot to catch up to because streaming is so hard in the car. There's not a lot you can call upon. So I think I'm excited to catch up on what the universe has been talking about too.
And what's the first album you remember buying?
With my own money was Odelay by Beck.
And what should everybody be listening to today?
Today.
Can be an old artist, can be...
Okay. You know what I just am letting myself revisit is the New Moon Elliot Smith collection of demos and songs. I listened to it so much that I almost convinced my brain I didn't like it anymore because I memorized it. And so I gave it a full-on 2-year break. And then just recently I downloaded it back on my phone, and it is it's like listening to it for the first time. It's incredible. So if you're anything like me, you're going to want to listen to that right now.
But that's fantastic. It's a great way of when you love something, you don't listen to it for 2 years, then you play it again.
It's a big reward.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So, let's do I like to call a thrift store or a bargain bin find, which now you just adore, you've just picked up by sheer...
I think it's self-titled, but I found an Ednaswap record in a thrift store that I think I had just gotten a record player and put it on and just fell in love with it. Also, weirdly, there's one Jackson Browne album that's always in thrift stores. Is it Hold Out? It's the one from the 80s that's
Probably.
him on the front. Also epic. He fully went pop on it, and it's super legit. But yeah, I love both of those things. I also have, of course I don't know the names of anything, but I have the Tom Waits album that's newspaper on the front. I think it's got
He's got a huge catalog of albums.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I have that.
Yeah. I found that in the thrift store. Love it. I think I have 2 copies of it because...
It's always good to have a backup.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry, you're going to edit. Sorry, I forgot. I was going to ask you another question. Okay. So we're living in, politically, it's we live in turbulent times. What's a good record to, if there is one, a good record to, teach people to kind of not, I don't want to say get along, but bring a bit of peace to the world, some semblance of it, or...
Felice Brothers' Life in the Dark. I love it for that reason because it's not, I feel like it's not apologist, if that makes sense. It's not
sure.
It's not everything's fine and we all love each other. It's talking about how fucked up it is to live in America. And it's really dark at times, but it's also we all live here and there are lots of moments of goodness and poetry on it that are redeemable somehow. I love it.
Sure. One last question. Thanks for being a sport and being on the show. I know
Yeah,
you're a busy
of
woman,
course.
busy person. Sorry, we're in 2018. You're a busy individual. I'm starting a record collection for my son, and it's kind of true. He listens to a lot of my music, but
Yeah.
what album should I? And I'm going to leave it wrapped, so I'm not going to be tempted to open it, but. I will be tempted to open it. That's terrible. I just asked you your opinion. I said, I won't be tempted to open it, but I will be tempted to open it, but I won't open it because it's for him.
Okay.
So what should I buy him as his first album?
Wow. That's so hard. First album. Wow. That's so rough.
It's a tough one because I know there's so much.
There's so much. Oh my gosh. That's almost an impossible question. I have to call upon everything that I believe in the universe. know. Again, am I gonna say the Beatles again?
Of course.
I am.
You could. I mean,
I had like a collection of Beatles demos that was just, it like totally changed my life and changed the way I thought about music and led like so perfectly into Elliot Smith. So I might have to say like the Beatles catalog for first record, and you don't even have to open it
that's
because you know by heart.
That's a good one. That's a really
Yeah.
good one.
I love the Beatles.
Yeah, I mean, they're a timeless band.
Yeah. That's
mean-
another one that I needed like a full-on 10-year break from the Beatles to make it something that my ears could listen to without hearing the next, 40 minutes of music by heart already in my brain. But I like allowed myself a couple years ago to listen to everything that I knew so well, and it's just like absurd. Also the John Lennon
There's
solo.
so many songs. I mean, it's just
many
there's
yeah.
hundreds. There's hundreds of songs.
Yeah.
And let's do a bonus question.
Okay.
Like, a lot of musicians, singers, songwriters, they don't like listen to music when they're recording, or they don't because they don't want to be like sidetracked. Is there an album or something that before you jumped into the studio or started writing your latest record, was there an album in particular that?
Yeah, it might be the opposite. We got sidetracked every single day by so many things. I have a song called Funeral that opens with this crazy string part, and I very heavily referenced the strings on Cassadaga, the Bright Eyes album. We listened to Ted Hawkins quite a bit. We listened to yeah, I mean, we went on like so many different like wormholes of music.
That's excellent.
Like a full on, yeah. That's a bad answer.
No, that's a fantastic answer. Did you
Yeah.
say the name of the Ted Hawkins album or the?
It was what is the album? I think does he only have one album? I'm gonna start sounding like an idiot if I don't know what I'm talking about.
He can look it up.
We can
after.
look it up.
He'll look it up on his
It's
thing.
great.
But that's
Yeah.
cool. I haven't heard you. Thank you for
Yeah, well-
the education.
Tony was an A&R guy forever, the producer, and he signed so much stuff, including Beck.
Tony Berg.
Yeah, Tony
Yeah.
Berg. So we listened to the guy who made like all the early Beck beats.
Wow.
And those are incredible and insane. But yeah, he also signed Ted Hawkins, and we listened to that.
I've got to listen to that. That sounds really interesting.
It is super interesting. And it's weird because a friend had showed me him like literally the day before I went into the studio, and Tony referenced him for something. So yeah, and also the Break Mirrors. No, that might be a good first album, actually, weirdly. Break Mirrors by Blake Mills.
Oh, Blake Mills. Yeah, he's been referenced too on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was his Blake Mills? Does he have another project, or is it just the solo?
He had a band with the Dawes guys called Simon Dawes.
Okay.
But the first Blake Mills album is like one of my favorite records of all time. It's called Break Mirrors. And it was
Okay.
made at Tony's studio. And just the sounds are incredible. The songwriting is incredible. And he made it when he was like a teenager.
Wow.
That might be a good first album.
Blake Mills.
Yeah.
And the title again?
Break Mirrors.
There you
Yeah.
go. Thank you so much for being a sport. It was really a delight having you on, and an education, which is like, this is what we pride ourselves on, getting records out there and introducing new artists, some established artists. But
Yeah, I'm just trying to introduce the world of the Beatles,
yeah.
No one's
That's
ever heard of
awesome.
them. Yeah.
And a good sense of humor, too. It's very important to have a good sense of humor. I really appreciate that.
They were all
Yeah.
over our last interview too.
Oh, really?
The Beatles.
Good. I feel
The-
better about it now. I feel better about
Beatles
it now.
and Beatles and Radiohead.
And the Radioheads.
The Radioheads. Are they from England too, Radiohead? They kinda
No.
speak with that
I
accent.
think they're Canadian.
Yeah.
They have the similar accent, right? The Canadians? So final thing, we like to
Okay.
ask our guests for words of wisdom or advice for our audience.
Buy stuff on accident. I would say that for sure, because so many of my favorite records. And also, don't be afraid of liking stuff. It's okay. I don't really believe in guilty pleasures, even though maybe I should. Like, there's definitely things that my friends are embarrassed about embarrassed about liking that
Too
I'm
short.
not embarrassed about liking. But yeah, keep consuming music, and like your friends will pretend to like it if you like it. Like, you invent what cool is. It's rad.
Terrific. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And Mark's going to record you doing an intro, and that's it.
Okay,
That's
cool.
a wrap.
So if you could just say, hi, I'm Phoebe Bridgers. Into this.
Okay.